So the central question motivating this paper is whether the planter class maintained its status after the Civil War Reconstruction or stumbled and other opportunities were presented. And I'm principally interested in the role of amnesty policy on the economic status and political status of elites. There are 14 classes of exclusions, but the biggest among those 14 classes were those with taxable property at least $20,000 or more. The findings of the paper point to both continuity of economic mobility and discontinuity of political mobility for the Southern elites. Reconstruction delegates were about 80% less likely to hold office in the future. Individuals in the $20,000 class were excluded from political life for 3 years. Economic institutions can persist irrespective of the identity of the elites.
Looking at the case of enforced enfranchisement during Reconstruction and what actually drove effective Black political participation during this period. As the price of readmission to Congress of the former Confederate states, complete enfranchisement of all Black adult males. So the key here is that the occupation force was never large enough to protect all these new voters, and it shrank substantially over the course of Reconstruction. So we use the location of military outposts during Reconstruction, and we argue that the nearby presence of federal troops should be observed with greater effective Black political participation. We find a lot of evidence that the enforcement, as proxied by the presence of US troops, was very critical to Black political representation during representation. The failure of Reconstruction was in part essentially a failure to protect the recently enfranchised former slaves.